All right. Good morning, guys. Great. Let's do something called as comprehensive questions. Yes. Let's try to understand what we have learned in the subject and let's try to cover this off. Yes. Some rules to follow before we do comprehensive questions. Two sets are given to you, set A and set B. Set A is your Lalu Panju ICA level questions. Set B is all your past exam questions. Yes. So handpick past exam questions which were complicated enough. Some questions which will not be probably covered is your September 24, your Jan 25 questions, obviously, because that was after I launched the batch. Yes, so that alone will be pending. That will be given to you separately as a part of your model test, your mock test, your jo bhi hai. Yes, it will be given according to that. Yes, but these are the questions of the past which you have to pay focus attention to. What we're going to do in this, people, is that we're going to go through the question. I will first tell you what the line is. You will tell me what the answer is. Yes, I will then tell you what the right answer is. If you get it right, good for you. If you don't get it right, you will mark it down. You will mark it down and you will ensure that you remember this for your exams. If you want, you can at appropriate stages make note in your concept guide so that you don't miss it out later on. Yes, please do that. Today's class is more for your understanding, less for your practice. Yes, yes. So let's see how much you remember of your syllabus and then you can accordingly keep marking down whatever changes you want and then we can take it from there. Good enough? Everyone? Yes, yes. As I read the question, you'll have a pencil in your hand. As we start writing, you'll have a pen in your hand for your practice. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. You also have a highlighter in your hand in case you get something wrong. You highlight the mistakes and then you take it from there. Be reading the questions, people. The question says, Mr. A is age 32 years and is working with XYZ Private Limited on a basic salary of rupees 50,000. He has then received a transport allowance of 15,000 rupees and a house rent allowance of 20,000 rupees from the company during the previous year, 24-25. So there is a person working in some company receiving some basic salary, has also received something called transport allowance, has also received something called HRA. Yes, for those who remember, people, when it comes to transport allowance, it is fully taxable unless and until the person is a disabled person. Unless and until the person is a disabled person, this is fully taxable. Nothing mentioned. I'm assuming the person is healthy. I'm assuming the person is healthy and therefore this is fully taxable. Then you have received some HRA, people, 20,000. You have least of 3. You have least of 3. Actual received 50 or 40% of salary. Rent paid minus 10% of salary. He has then paid a rent of 25,000 per month for his accommodation in Delhi. So therefore they have come and clarified what he's paid as rent also. Yes, which is good enough for me. I am then coming and saying the person has paid an interest of 2,10,000 for housing loan for construction of his house. People has paid some housing loan for construction of house. This is income from house property. The construction of the house is completed in March 24, which is his previous year, Therefore, whatever interest you pay in the current year will be current year interest. There will not be any pre-construction interest. And his parents are living in that house, which means the house is self-occupied property. The other information is given to you. The contribution to PPF is 1,50,000 ATC. Contribution to pension scheme is ATC CD. They have itself given to you. People, when it comes to ATC CD, there are two contributions. Self-employer. This is self-contribution. And self-contribution rule comes and says for the first, no restrictions. I have paid 50,000, no restriction. I can take it as it is. Payment of medical insurance for father who's age 65, 80 D. I have paid for father, senior citizen, allowed for, very good, allow for 50,000. Payment of medical insurance for self and spouse. People, whenever self comes, always first check for age. Check on the age. It's 32. Person is normal citizen, gets 25,000. You're required to compute the income tax and total income in the manner most beneficial to the assessee. I want both the regimes. I want both the regimes. That is what will the understanding be. Is this clear, people? Yes. Yes. On that similar lines is what we're going to do the question. Let's do the question. Let's do the question. I am coming and telling you when it comes to your total income and tax liability, you need to compute your question. How do you do? You have heads of income. So let's put out in the heads of income. Let's put it out in the heads of income to understand what is happening. Yes. So we're starting with question number 1, computation of total income. Computation of total income of Mr. A. We have computation of total income of Mr. A for the assessment year 25-26. Write down We have computation of total income of Mr. A for the assessment year 25-26. People, we are doing both the regimes. We're doing both the regimes. Whenever you have asked to do both the regimes, it's always better to first do ATR and then move to DTR. So let's do ATR first. Let's do ATR first. In ATR, people, when it's a multiple head of question, I told you particulars with 3 columns. Particulars with 3 columns. I have income from salaries. People, the number in the question says I have a basic pay of 50,000 per month. People, whenever you are given a basic pay in months, always understanding is standard deduction is not given. You need to give it. So let's put basic salary, people. Basic salary is 50,000 into 6 lakhs. 50,000 into 12, 6 lakhs. Then I have been given transport allowance. Use your books. I have been given transport allowance. Number is 15,000 into 12. Number is 15,000 into 12, 1,80,000. People, next to transport allowance, write hyphen fully taxable since the person is not a disabled person. I don't know how much he is healthy. Mental stress is there everywhere in life, people. Yes, since the person is not a disabled person, therefore 1,80,000. Now what next do I have? I have HRA. In first column, number is, first you will have to write the amount taxable. So in first column, number is 25 into 12, which is 3 lakhs. Oh, it's 20, sorry, it's 20. It's 20,000 into 12, 2,40,000. Next line says least of 3. Which is actual. Then people, person is in Delhi, therefore 50% of salary. People, for this salary means basic plus DA forming part plus turnover commission. No turnover commission given, no DA given, therefore directly basic pay number becomes 3 lakhs. 50% of that is, basic pay is 6 lakh, 50% of that is 3 lakhs. Then you have rent paid minus 10% of salary. People, in the question says rent is 25,000 per month. So 25,000 into 12 minus 10% of 6 lakh, which is 60,000. Therefore 2 lakh, least of the three is 2,40,000. Therefore allowed exemption 2,40,000. Taxable number is 0. In the second column. Done with salaries? Yes. Total the number. Heading is called gross salary. Keep this number in second column. Number is 7,80,000 less standard deduction. 50,000. Last column number becomes 7,30,000. This is your income from salaries. Anything else? Point number 2, IFHP. Now in the question, people, I notice there is no LOP, there is just SOP. So I don't need to maintain a format. I can directly on the next line come and say loss from SOP. I can in the next line directly come and say loss from SOP hyphen interest paid subject to maximum of subject to maximum of. Last column directly number becomes minus 2 lakhs. Last column number becomes minus 2 lakhs. Yes, people, the reason I'm setting off is because loss from house property can be set off against any head up to a maximum of 2 lakhs. That is what I have, and therefore I'm retaining it. Assuming in this question this loss was from LOP and you would have had 3 lakhs, you would have put the 3 lakhs in the first column and then said maximum set off permitted in the year 2 lakhs and then take 2 lakhs to the last column. Yes, luckily in this question it's only 2 lakhs. I don't have a problem. Anything else? No. Any other incomes? Total, get me. Total and get me what is called as total and get me what is GTI. Total and get me my GTI minus chapter 6A deductions less chapter 6A deductions. Under that, point number A, 80C. Under that point number A, 80C hyphen, what are we claiming, people? 80C hyphen PPF. 80C hyphen PPF. In the second column number is 1,50,000. In the second column number is 1,50,000. Then 80 CCD. 80 CCD hyphen own contribution to NPS. Own contribution to NPS number in second column is 50,000 is a separate claim. People, the overall restriction of 1,50,000 is for triple C CCD own contribution of 10%. Own contribution of 10%. Own contribution of 50,000 and employees contribution is a separate claim. You are permitted. So 50,000 gets allowed as deduction. Point number C. 80D. Point number C, 80D. Under that point number 1. Expenditure on parents. Hyphen restricted to. People, you don't need to put the number in the particulars. Restricted to is what you're saying, so the number directly in the last column will mean the same. Yes, so restricted to is enough in the particulars, and first column becomes 50,000. First column becomes 50,000. People, there is internal computation for 80D, so we need to do that. First column becomes 50,000. Point number 2. Self and spouse, comma restricted to. First column number becomes 25,000. Total the number, bring it to second column. It is 75,000. Total the whole chapter 6A, bring it to last column. Total the second column of chapter 6A, bring it to last column. 2,75,000 in brackets. 2,75,000 in brackets. Arriving answer is called total income. Number is 2,55,000. Arriving answer is called 2,55,000. Is the question over? We need to do next line. Tax on 2,55,000. Tax on 2,55,000. Number is 0. Number is 0. On the last, you can put it as 0. When you say tax on 255, you can put hyphen nil, since his total income is less than 5 lakhs. And he will be eligible for rebate. Since his total income is less than 5 lakhs, he will be eligible for rebate. Or you can either do this, or you can do for the first 2,50,000 0, for the balance 5,000 at 5%, then put a rebate and give the answer. The logic means doesn't matter, but you need to mention this English. You need to mention this English. Clear enough? Yes, this is your first half of the question, people, which is about. Go forward. Next heading is called. Next heading is called computation of total income of Mr. A under default tax regime. Computation of total income of Mr. A under default tax regime. People, there are two ways to approach this. Either you can do the whole thing again, or you will start from ATR and move to DTR. You can start from ATR and move to DTR. What do you prefer? Go ahead. Total income as per ATR. In particulars, total income as per ATR number is 2,55,000. Go back and check what and all do you not get from the bottom. You're already starting from the bottom. Start from the bottom. Add chapter 6A deductions. Always start from the bottom, people, so that you know it properly. Add chapter 6A deductions. Number is 2,75,000. Next. Can you get SOP interest? No. Add loss claimed under SOP. Add loss claimed under SOP. Number is 2 lakhs. Then, people, you claimed 50 in alternate. You can claim 75 in default, which means you need to less 25. So it is less additional deduction under salaries. Less additional deduction under salaries. Less additional deduction under salaries. Number is 25,000. What else? You can't claim your HRA, so add exemption claimed under HRA. Add exemption claimed under HRA. People, I claimed an exemption of 2,40,000. I can't claim 2,40,000, so that gets added as well. Anything else? Good enough? Total the numbers. 9,45,000. Number becomes 9,45,000. Yes, this is my total income. Compute tax. You need to show both and then tell which is right. Compute tax for the first 3 lakhs 0. For the first 3 lakhs 0, 3 lakh to 7 lakh becomes 5%. 7 lakh to 9,45,000 will be at the rate of 10%. Total number is with cess is 46 to 80. With cess is 46 to 80. 46 to 80. Double underline. On the bottom conclusion. On the bottom conclusion. It is beneficial for Mr. A to opt for alternate tax regime. It is beneficial for Mr. A to opt for alternate tax regime. Yes, people, English like these, you have to ensure that you talk as consultants. What does that mean, people? You only recommend, you don't order. So you always say it is suggested, it is recommended, he may opt for. You don't use the word should opt for, can opt for. यही करना चाहिए. is not the way to do it. Is not the way to do it. As a consultant, you can only recommend. If he wants to be stupid, it is his headache. I don't care. Yes, but I don't force anything on him. I don't force anything on him. So words in exam saying Mr. A is going for ATR, Mr. A only does ATR, Mr. A, no, it is always he may choose ATR. It is recommended to choose ATR. He may follow ATR because it is beneficial. Always be polite. Always have a consulting head. Always have a consulting head. Is that clear? Yes. Is the things making sense to you? Yes. Easy question for you to give a practice on. Can we go forward? Yes, let's go forward. Question number 2. It says, Miss Charlie is an American national and has got married to Radhe of India in USA on 2nd March 2024 and has come to India for the first time on 16th March 24. I'm going to hold back people. I'm seeing multiple dates and people outside India visiting India and all. This is residential status. The moment I do that, people, I'm going to start marking a few things. First is I'm noticing Mrs. Charlie is a American national. The moment I notice that, it means she is not an Indian citizen. She is not an Indian citizen. Basically, if she does not satisfy 182, she'll come to the last chart directly. She'll come to the last chart directly. Yes, things like that has to be paid attention to. Person got married to Radhe in USA on 2nd March 24. People, current year, previous year. Very good. Current and previous are the same. So it is previous year. And then has come to India for the first time on 16th March 24. Again, previous year. Forget it off. She left USA on 19th September 24. This is previous year. But the problem is, people, she came on 16th March. So I need to find out how much days she was in India. How much days she was in India. How will I check? From, very good. You will check from 1st April. You can't check from March itself, people, because March is previous year. So check from 1st April, people. I am starting from April. April she was there for 30 days. May she was there for 31 days. June she was there for. July she was there for. August she is there for. September she is there for. September we will include 19 as well. Hold this. Let's check if she has come back anytime later. Let's wait on that. She returned to India again on 27th March 25, people, which means she's again come back in March. For how many days? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 5 days. You are including the date of arrival also. So it becomes 5 days. After this, I don't have a problem, people, which means this is my total number. My total stay in India, 177. For those who would have unfortunately hurried and taken from 16th March, you would have got more than 182. You would will be in a problem. Dates in income tax are very important. Pay attention to this. Yes. Now understand, people, I have not satisfied 182 days, which means I am not on the right side, I am on the left side. On the left side, first one talks about Indian citizen, not applicable. Second one talks about Indian citizen, person of Indian origin, not applicable. Third one is what is applicable, which says 60 plus 365. 60 plus 365. Current year 60. Satisfied. Let's check last 4 years, people. They are saying she has come to India for the first time on 16th March 24, meaning last year is the first time she came, and that too she came only for 16 days. Which means last 4 years her maximum stay was 16 days. Person is a, which means I have now determined Charlie is a NR. I have determined Charlie is an NR. You understand how to approach a question? Yes, it is always about knowing the status first before you start reading things, because as you start reading incomes, some will be taxable, some will not be taxable, because the person is now NR. Pay attention. While in India, she purchased a showroom in Mumbai on 30th April 24, which was leased out to a company on a rent of 25,000 per month from 1st May. People, I am an NR, have a showroom which I am leasing out. Taxable, not taxable? Taxable, because asset is located in India. So this income becomes taxable. So I am having some income. This income I am treating as taxable. Keep this income. Next, she has taken a loan from a bank for purchase of the showroom, for which bank has charged 97,500 up to 31st March 25. The bank has charged interest on loan. People, we are under house property. house, property. She has received the following cash gifts from her relatives and friends during April to March. Some gifts have been received. You need to tell which one is taxable, which one is exempt as per, very good, as per IFRS. From parents of husband, spouse parents, relative, exempt. Married sister of husband, exempt. It's not less than 50,000. You add everything when you check 50. Next, from two very close friends, 1,51,000 and 21,000, 172. This becomes fully taxable. This becomes fully taxable. Understand, people, the limit of 50,000 is from my side on the overall income I earn. On the overall income I earn. But before I do that, I exempt items. So first two items became exempt because they are relatives. Third item became taxable because it is from my friends. The only thing which I need to keep in mind, people, is that somewhere on the top they're saying it is on marriage. It is on marriage. The person is married and come to India. Yes, but if you notice, marriage happened in March. Gifts are coming in April. Now you can make an assumption saying the gift which is received is for that marriage and therefore is exempt. Or you can come and say marriage last year, gift this year, therefore your choice, whatever makes sense. I would say it is taxable. I would say it is taxable because then otherwise question would have told that this gift is on account of. With no assumptions, don't make choices. That is what the question says. Determine the residential status and compute the total income chargeable to tax along with the tax liability for such income if she opts out of default tax regime. People, to do this, you need to first know the status, which I determined is NR. Second, I need to know what incomes are taxable. I have noticed my incomes are two. One is HP. How much? 25,000 into con 12 bola. It is 11. Dates are important, people. Focus on the dates. It is showing 1st May. Therefore, 2,75,000. People, this is income from house, property. Allow 30% standard deduction. 192,500. I have then interest on loan, which is 97,500, making my income as 95,000. This is my income from house, property. Apart from that, I have income from other source for 1,72,000. I have income from house, property for 1,72,000, making my total income as 2,67,000. This is my total income. And therefore my tax is, because you get a rebate. This is what the answer is. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Would your answer change in this question, people, had you got a default tax regime question? Do I see any changes in the answer if this was a default tax regime question? No, because two incomes I have, both are slabs. No special nature changes also. I am claiming LOP, and LOP you can claim interest. IFRS is also taxable, so the answer will not change even if you are under DTR. Would her residential status undergo a change, assuming that she is a person of Indian origin and her total income in the year is 18 lakhs? She is not liable to tax in USA. Now, people, person is an Indian citizen, which means now I am in. Person is in person of Indian origin. It's not an Indian citizen. Person is of Indian origin. So we are in second chart. Second chart comes and says you should be outside India visiting India. And if you are outside India visiting India, total income should be more than 15 lakhs. Question says total income is 18 lakhs. Condition satisfied. For that, you need to satisfy 120 plus 365 in the last four. You need to satisfy 120 plus 365 in last four. People, current year 120 satisfied, but 365, which means person is non-resident as per that condition. But wherever it was a non-resident, people, chart also came and said you need to check to the bottom where you are not liable to tax in India. You can be deemed resident if your income is more than 15 lakhs. Therefore, this person will become still an NR. This person will still be called as an NR. Read the table. The table says you should be a Indian citizen, not liable to tax in India. This person is a Indian origin. An Indian citizen not liable to tax in any other country is what can become a deemed resident. A person of Indian origin is not covered, therefore the person still remains NR. Would your answer undergo a change? No, it doesn't change. Yes, I remember doing example questions in class also where I gave you person of Indian origin and told not liable to tax in India. Person will be NR. That is only for Indian citizens. That is only for Indian citizens. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Small things, people, which I say loves to test you with. Question number 3. We are doing total income questions, people. Let's see how much of it do you understand. Question says, Niranjana is a resident individual aged 60 years and is running a clinic in Surat. People, the moment she is running a clinic, I know she is a professional. I know she is a professional. Her income and expenditure accounts are given to you. People, before I start reading the table, I always check what is asked. From the above, you are required to compute the total income of Srimati Ranjana under the default tax regime and the optional tax regime as per the normal provisions of the Act. They want both. They want both. People, when I do the question, what I'm going to do, you're going to tell me what adjustment will happen as per ATR. If you think there is a change in DTR, you will mention me that also. So I'm going to create 2 columns. People, when I read the table, I told you when we did PGBP also, always start from right side. Always start from right side or the income side. If I'm starting from the income side, people, the first item says consultation and medical charges 58 lakhs. People, what should trigger? You should always check for presumptive taxation 44 ADA, which comes and says if you are a professional having turnover less than 50 lakhs, it is presumptive. Correct, not correct? Yes. No. It also has 75 lakhs of limit. It also has a 75 lakhs of limit provided your receipts are up to 95% in cash. In permissible modes. Receipts are up to 95% in permissible modes. Now, noticing the number, people, it is 58 lakhs, which means the 50 lakhs is saved. 75 lakhs can still be coming in. I don't know what the answer is because I need to check how much was received in permissible modes and how much was received in cash. In a question, if nothing is mentioned, assume money is received in cash and therefore presumptive will not apply. Unless the question mentions. Right now I don't know, people, so I'm putting a pause here and I'm coming and saying we will come back to this. Once we know what is the mode of receipts. So I'm holding that back. Next comes income tax refund, where they're saying principal is 5,000 and interest is 450. People, in my P&L there is an income tax refund, part of PGBP. No, therefore minus from PGBP. People, I have removed from PGBP how much? Full 5450. I'll remove full 5450 because that is what is showing in the P&L. That should not show. Now I'm going to IFOS. People, the moment I go to IFOS, I need to offer income. How much am I going to offer? I'm going to offer 4 because only interest is taxable. Principal is what you paid and what you got back. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. The thing I want you to mention and understand carefully, people, is that when you're reducing the whole 5450. But when you're taxing only 450. This is how accounting will work because your P&L is wrong. Your P&L should not have had 5450. So you're removing your full P&L. But when you do the proper thing, what will you do? You will add only 450. Don't make the mistake to come and say IFOS is showing 450. So P&L also will remove 450. P&L will remove full 5450 because that is what is showing. The very logic is very simple, people, that when it comes to PGBP, whatever is showing in the P&L, take it off and then go to the other heads and do the proper thing. They need not necessarily match. Are you clear? Next, I have dividends from UTI 10,500. People, part of, therefore minus from PGBP, add to IFOS. Here there is no problem because the number is saying in gross, and therefore what you remove here is what you are going to add there also. No changes in that. Come to the next one. It says winnings from game show on TV, net of TDS of 15,000 rupees. I have received some lottery. And the lottery money in my hand is 35,000, but this 35,000 is after TDS. People, in my PGBP amount reflecting 35. So to remove from PGBP amount is 35,000. Now I am going to, under IFOS, people, I have received in my hand 35 net of TDS. Technically my income is, I will tax 50,000. I will tax 50,000. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Yes, yes. This is what I was telling you, people. Pay attention to what is happening. What happens in accounts is different from what happens in tax. Remove everything which is wrong in accounts, then do your proper taxing. Then do your proper taxing. So I am removing 35,000 because that is what is there in the P&L. But when I'm taxing it, I'm taxing the full 50,000 because that is what my income is. That is what my income is. Clear, not clear? Yes or no? Next, rent 27,000. People, rent paid or rent received? Obviously, if you're receiving rent, this is not from PGBP. This is not from PGBP. People, it only says rent. It doesn't say from where. It can also be rent from other items. It can be rent from furniture. Then it will not be PGBP. It will not be PGBP. We'll need to check additional information. As of now, I'm removing from PGBP. What to do in HP and all, we'll discuss later. We will discuss later. Come to the left side. On the left side, people, now when it comes to expenses, you will ask a simple question. Is it part of business? Not part of business. Part of business, ignore because it is already there. Not part of business, take it back, which is add back, medical expenses, people, either plus or ignore. What I am going to ignore. Yes, staff salary 1380, ignore. Clinic consumables 110, ignore. Rent paid 90, people, rent received is a different head. Rent paid obviously is for your clinic only. Yes or no? People, you are going to pay rent for your own clinic. What you receive is from something else. That is not the criteria. That is not the criteria. This is business and therefore ignore. Administrative expenses 2,55,000, ignore. Amount paid to Scientific Research Association approved under section 35. People, amount paid means donation. I made a donation to scientific research. People, income tax says any donation made to scientific research 100% allowed as deduction. 100% allowed as deduction only under. Very good question once. Which means under ATR I am going to ignore. Under ATR I am going to ignore. But when I do the question under DTR I will add back. When I do the DTR I will add back. Yes or no? So which means what we'll do, people, when we will do ATR we'll keep it as it is. When we do DTR we will take my total income, add scientific research payment as not allowed expense, as not an allowed expense. Clear? Yes, yes. This is one of the most favorite questions of ICI, favorite adjustment of ICI from ATR to DTR. From ATR to DTR, because here is where you will allow it in ATR but disallow it in DTR. Therefore, please pay attention. Net profit is your starting point. Here is where we start for PGBP. Yes, then it says rent paid includes 30,000 paid by check towards rent for her residential house in Surat. For her residential house in Surat, which means the rent paid now comes and clarifies that the amount which I paid is 90,000, in which 30,000 was towards rent for a residential house in Surat, which means this is personal expense. Therefore, disallow under PGBP. You will disallow under PGBP. Amount disallowed is, people, what will you write? Since the payment is not incurred for the purpose of business, the payment is not incurred for the purpose of business, it has been added back. It has been added back. Now, here comes the question. I've paid this. What to do with this? PGBP disallowed. Does it fall under any other heads? Does it fall under any other heads? Does it fall under any other heads? No, it doesn't fall, people. Personal expense. If your question would have given you HRA, I would have claimed exemption. With no HRA, this amount is to be ignored. This amount is to be ignored. Next, I have clinical equipments, people, which they are coming and clarifying, saying opening WDV is 5 lakhs, acquired and paid by check 2 lakh rupees. I have to compute depreciation. Opening WDV will be liable for 15%. This will be liable for, very good, 7.5%, because this is after Gandhi Jayanti and therefore half depreciation, and therefore half depreciation. Why? You're only not allowed by cash, right? It should be by permissible modes. Check is permissible. Unless and until the question comes and mentions it's bearer check or cross check, I would have not allowed it. But because they mentioned no check, allowed. Next, rent received relates to property situated at Surat. The gross annual value is 27,000. Municipal tax is 2,000 paid in December and has been included in administrative charges. People, multiple items are here. Multiple items are here. But one thing which I'm not sure if your guys are noticing is that this is rent received from same property in Surat. same property in Surat, for which an indirect hint is given that you have paid rent also in Surat, people, which means this property is not your ownership. This property is not your ownership. Agreed, not agreed? Agreed, not agreed? People, the moment the asset is not your ownership, income from house property is not applicable. It falls under IFOS. It falls under IFOS. I told you people, for an house property to apply, there should be two conditions. There should be a house. You should be the owner. You should be the owner. Indirect hint given to you that you are not the owner because you are paying rent for that property. Why will you pay rent for your own property? Which means this is not your ownership, and therefore the rent received will now go into IFOS. The rent received will now go into IFOS. Yes or no? Yes. Now, as much as your attention to that, people, what you are missing out is the fact that this is now allowed under IFOS. This is now allowed under IFOS. People, we are in IFOS, and IFOS has no conditions. IFOS says whatever expenses you pay, you can claim. Whatever expenses you pay, you can claim. So therefore, this is also now allowed as a deduction. This is how silent treatment works. This is how silent treatment works. Things can go horribly wrong when it comes to this. But the next part is here, people. It says the gross annual value is 27,000. Relevant, not relevant? Relevant, not relevant? Not relevant. People, GAV and all is only checked for HP. I am in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But next part of the question says I have paid municipal tax of 2,000 in December 23, which has been included in administrative expenses. Which has been included in administrative expenses. People, not part of business. Not part of business. Therefore, disallowed under PGBP. Disallowed under PGBP. Next. That is in HP. That is in HP. People, can you claim this as deduction? Yes, you can claim it as deduction, but not this year. You would have claimed it last year. December 23 is showing. This is showing December 23. You would have claimed it last year under OS. Last year under OS. You cannot claim it current year. But assuming this was 24, can you claim it as deduction? Yes, you can claim it as deduction because you are under the head OS. People, conditions to pay municipal tax by owner and all is there only in HP, not in OS. OS and all can do whatever they want. Can do whatever they want, and therefore this will also be allowed as deduction if it was 24. I'm assuming this is a mistake from my end, people. Let me check quickly. मेरे को लगा ही था वो लोग HP में डालें. This is 24, people. This is 24. This is 24, which means now question comes, can you claim it in OS? Yes, you can claim it in OS. You can claim it in OS. Yes, yes. Now, people, from my clarity, this is OS. This is not HP. This is not HP. But for some reason, ICS put it in HP. ICS put it in HP, which is horribly wrong. This is horribly wrong. You can ignore that. You can ignore that. But here is the fact, people, that because the rent is paid for that residential house property, it means it is not my ownership. It means it is not my ownership. It goes into IFOS. Keep that thought in mind. Next, she has received a salary of 7,500 from Full Cure Hospital, which has not been included in consultation and medical charges. People, this line says it is not included, meaning is it affecting my net profit? Is it affecting my net profit? No. If it is not affecting my net profit, do I do something in PGBP? No, I don't do anything in PGBP. Now comes the question. They say they have received 7,500 from Full Cure Hospital. What are you receiving as? Salaries, taxable under the head income from salaries directly. Taxable under that income from salaries directly. 7,500 into number becomes 90,000. Amount taxable is 40 under alternate 20, 15 under DTR. 15 under DTR. Remove another 25,000 deduction in DTR. Yes or no? Yes. So you'll take this in IFOS. Allow 50k in ATR. Allow 75k in DTR. Allow 75k in DTR. Yes, yes, yes. You're realizing, people, one question can have everything inside. Yes, that is how comprehensive questions work. That is how comprehensive question works. Dr. Niranjana has availed a loan of 5,50,000 from a bank for higher education for her daughter, where she has prepaid in principal of 1,00,000 rupees and interest of 55,000 rupees during previous year 24-25. Previous year 24-25. People, first things before you start jumping, always first ask yourself a question: is it part of my net profit? Nothing given, assumption, not part. Assumption, not part, meaning does it affect my PGBP? Doesn't affect my PGBP. With it not affecting my PGBP, people, now comes the question, what is this? Now comes the question, what it is. This is interest on loan paid for higher education, 80E, where I can allow only interest, cannot allow. So this becomes minus 80E. This becomes minus 80, 55,000 only under ATR. I will ignore under DTR. I will ignore under DTR. Yes or no? Yes. Next, she paid 1,00,000 rupees as tuition fees, not in the nature of development fees or donation, to a university for full-time education of her daughter. 80. Very good. 80C. I will give 80C, but I will ignore it under DTR. Now, this is a question which has been asked to me in the past, so therefore I'm clarifying this to you. For those who are noticing, it says university, and they're coming and saying, Rahul, 80C mein to you only permit school. Why are you permitting university? People, university is also school only. Yes, we are garib, nothing else. Yes, we are poor. You go and watch that movies like Student of the Year and all. Those were all universities. Yes, some kind of universities where people below 12th are riding R15 and having some things and all. Yes, unka alag hi chal raha hai. Yes, universities is also school. Just that we are poor, we don't know. Yes, point is, people, when you hear the word tuition fees, it is 80C. It is 80C. If they say higher education, then it is 80E. That is what the idea is. That is what the idea is. Clear enough? Yes, move forward. An amount of 28,000 was paid by check under 27th March 25 for medical insurance premium, 80D. I get 80D. Amount allowed 28,000. If you see the first line says person is a senior citizen. Yes. Don't jump to conclusions. Always check for age. Always check for age. This is 80D for 28,000 and ignore for DTR. Ignore for DTR. Yes, you understand what is happening? Yes, this is the kind of complexity you can expect in a question. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm just checking what they have done. Yes. Notice carefully, people, when it comes to HP has two rules. One rule is saying that you should have a house. Second is that you should be the owner. You should be the owner. Now, if you notice, 27,000 is received as rent, which means I lease the property. I lease the property. But if you notice on the top says I've paid 30,000 for the same house in Surat. For the same house in Surat. For the same house, if I'm paying rent, it means I am not the owner. The moment I'm not the owner, can I do HP? No, I can only do IFOS, because we discussed when it comes to sublease. When it comes to sublease, it is always taxable under IFOS, and therefore the 27,000 moves to IFOS, the 30,000 also moves to IFOS, the municipal tax also moves to IFOS, The only one thing which you can probably make an assumption to match with ICI, people, is that it says it relates to a property situated at Surat, and here it says residential house in Surat. One can make an assumption both are two different houses. One can make an assumption both are two different houses. If that is the assumption, then HP will come into picture. 30,000 will get ignored. HP will come into picture and 30,000 will get ignored, because 30,000 is my own house rent, which is personal expense, so not considered. I have made an assumption that they both are same house. They both are the same house. You can also make an assumption they both are different houses, in which you will ignore 30,000 and you will take the 27,000 as your income from house property. Now, why am I doing it that way, people? Because I get 30,000 ka deduction, the person ends up in losses. The person ends up in losses, and therefore easier to set off my IFOS loss against PGBP incomes. Against PGBP income. So that is why I made that assumption. Because if you go under HP people, the problem is 30,000 gets ignored. 27,000 per you can claim maximum 30% cut deduction, which means you will still end up offering income. You'll still end up offering income. That is why I made that assumption. Yes. Nothing given, I can make whatever appropriate assumptions make. Put the alternatives also. Put the alternatives also. When the question is not clear, you can make whatever choices you want. Yes. 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 Meaning? What does that mean? Yeah. When I have a property in which there are 2 bedrooms, I can use 1 bedroom and second bedroom can be leased out. That is how most of the PGs work, right? That's what I'm saying. I have bought a property, 2 BHK. I'm paying rent for 2 BHK, in which 1 BHK I'm giving off a sublease. That is how most of the real estate agencies work, people. They don't take a property in their own name. They actually rent it for 5,000 rupees. They lease it out for 5,000 rupees. It works very commonly. Meaning? Yeah, nothing will go to OS because there's no income earned under OS, no? The 27,000 will go to HP, the 30,000 will get fully ignored because it's personal expense. Clear? Yes. Now there was one section, people, if you are going to HP and not OS, there was one section called 80GG, which comes and says if you are not getting HR and you're paying rent for your own property, you can claim 80GG, but I already told you to ignore it off. That is what ICA has also done. ICA has ignored it under 80GG. They've come and said you cannot get 80GG because she is residing as well in the same premises. And I told you, people, when it comes to 80GG, the reason you'll get it ignored is because some conditions are given in 80GG. You should not have a house in the same city. Should not have house in the same city. And condition number 2, even if you have house in other cities, you should claim that as a DLOP. Yes, I told you, ignoring all those, you will never get 80GG. You will never get 80GG. So ICA is also ignoring it. You can might as well ignore it off from your side as well. Yes, that is how the whole understanding is. That is how the whole understanding is. The fact what I'm trying to clarify to you people is that when it comes to your exams, compulsory questions, there will always be at least one adjustment which will be a room for error. Which will be a room for error. There will be a difference of interpretation between how you look at it and how ICA looks at it. Please don't worry. Please don't worry. Sitting and deliberating about the adjustment will not help. Rather, do what you want. Rather, do what you want. 99% of the cases when there is multiple options, ICA will provide both the alternatives. ICA will provide both the alternatives and tell you which one you do is correct. Which means rather than spending time on it, just do something and you will get marks. You will get marks. Might as well do something and lose marks also is fine because you will maximum lose 2 marks as compared to the time which you will spend thinking about it and lose another 10 marks somewhere else. Yes, compulsory question does not have opportunity to think. Compulsory questions, you look at the adjustment, you make an answer. That is what the idea is. The more time you spend on compulsory question, you will leave every other paper off. Yes, you will not be able to complete a paper. You would have realized it from a mock number 3. I don't have to tell you that. Yes, question number 4. Question number 4. It says Mrs. Purvi is age 55 years and is a chartered accountant in practice. People age is 55, normal citizen, good for me. She maintains her books of accounts on, things are gonna get ugly. Things are gonna get ugly. We are maintaining books on cash basis. Very, very carefully think the questions. Yes, before you start jumping to conclusions, look at the words very carefully what is happening. The income and expenditure account is given to you as follows. I'm ignoring all those. I'm looking at the bottom. It says compute the total income and the tax payable of Purvi for the assessment year 25-26. Blind, blunt question, people. Says compute total income and tax payable. Does not mention. You have to do. Look at the right side. Look at the right side. It says fees earned, audit is 27 lakhs, taxation is 15 lakh 40, consultancy is 12 lakh 70, total is 55 lakh 98,300 rupees. I am putting this on hold. I am putting this on hold because I don't know whether presumptive will come or not. I don't know whether presumptive will come or not. People, previous question, nothing was mentioned. Assume full cash basis, therefore presumptive will not come. Therefore, presumptive will. Hey, you are maintaining books on cash basis, not receiving cash. People, maintaining books on cash basis means what you receive is income, what you pay is expense. Does not mean सब कुछ रोकड़ा आएगा. Yes. Next, dividends on shares of X Limited. An Indian company gross is given as 10 lakh 524. People, this is part of, therefore, minus PGBP, take 2. IFRS, yes. People, some adjustments will not change over life. I say we'll have the same adjustments every year. Yes, so you just sometimes don't need to put your head, just mug up and go forward. Yes, income from UTI 7,600 rupees minus from, take 2. Honorarium received from various institutions for valuation of answer papers 15,800 rupees. People, I am a CA in practice. My money source is not correcting papers. This is what I do to screw students' life. Therefore, take it to yes. Don't make it your dhanda. Please don't make it your dhanda. It's not worth it. Next, rent received from residential flat let out. Now this is very clear, people. This is HP. Minus in PGBP, take 2. HP, take 2 HP. This is how it operates. I'm moving to the left side, people. Salary to staff, ignore. Stipend to articles, ignore. Incentive to articles, gift and all they are giving you. Office rent, ignore. Printing and stationery, ignore. Meeting, seminar and conference expenses, ignore. Purchase of car for official use 80,000. I will add back in my PGBP because it's a capex expense. It's a capital expense. You cannot claim it as an P&L item. But because it's a capital expense, people, I can claim at the rate of 15%. Motor vehicles are 15% depreciations. Repairs, maintenance and petrol of car 4,000 rupees. Normal business expense. Traveling expense, ignore. Municipal tax paid for house property, add in PGBP, take it to HP. Correct? Yes. Next, allowable rate of depreciation 15%. Lucky for you. Value of benefits received from the clients during the course of profession is 10,500 rupees. People, when you see a blunt line like this, question number 1, is it part of P&L? No, which means as of now nothing to do in PGBP. Now comes the question, kya hai ye? What is this? Under business. Therefore add to PGBP. People, it says value of benefits received in profession. Value of benefits means nothing but I've given you a gift in business. And if you remember when we discussed, I told you gifts are of 3 types. From employer, salaries. From business, PGBP. From other people, IFOS. People, under business there is no limits. Under business they come and say 1 rupee also received, fully taxable. Hey, it is not there in P&L, should be there in P&L. Therefore added back number. Incentive to article assistants represents amounts paid to 2 article assistants for passing IPCC exam in first attempt. Dream come true. क्यों नहीं 1 सेकंड क्यों क्या ठीक है भाई तेरा जीजा लगता है वो आर्टिकल तेरे घर का है तो people, just because ICA gives you information does not mean everything has an adjustment. Does not mean everything has an adjustment. There is this very famous dialogue which Kapil Sharma says, just because you see a casket, don't go and lie inside. Cover mili to mar nahi jana. Yes. Point is, people, ask yourself, is it a business expense? I am Dr. Purvi, I am Mr. Mrs. Purvi, jo bhi hai. Purvi, yes. The person working as an article is under my profession. As good as my employee. Is he related to me? No. Apo me giving him gifts is like salary. Me giving him gifts is like salary, which is a normal professional expense. normal professional expense. अब वो first attempt pass करे या third attempt pass करे, if I give him something, it is not in my personal capacity, it is in my professional capacity. It's a pure expense of my profession and therefore allowed as deduction. Already there in P&L, can be allowed, therefore ignore information. Therefore ignore information. People, don't start disallowing things you want in return. कल को जाके तुम लोग भी यही मांगोगे. Yes, now imagine if you go and ask your principal saying, sir, I cleared CA final first attempt, I want a gift. CA final, your principal comes and says, no beta, if I give it to you, you'll get disallowed. Do you want that? Think like that. Yes, repairs and maintenance of car includes 2000 rupees, which is paid for the period 1st October 24 to 30th September 25. People, I have expenses pertaining to current October to March and next April to September. Next April to September, which means I have expenses over the next 2 years. Current year also, next year also. What will I do? I will only allow for very good cash basis. What is the point of you marking on the top? A cash basis means what you pay is your expense. You want to do mercantile accounting in cash basis. The whole point of cash basis is there is no stupidity called accrual concept, which means what you pay is expense, what you earn is income. I have paid that much, therefore fully allowed as deduction. Already sitting in P&L, I have no adjustment to make. I have no adjustment to make. I can't teach you accounts, people. Accounting methods is something you should know. Yes, focus attention. Salary includes 30,000 rupees to a computer specialist in cash for assisting Purvi in one professional assignment. People, line items like these, there can be multiple elements. So you need to focus on which elements are critical. First time receiving salary, professional expense, no problem. Payment is 30,000, some number, no problem. Next line says payment is made in. Here is where an issue is coming. Because I have made a payment exceeding per person, per, not allowed as expense, not allowed as expense. Already there in P&L, income taxes don't allow, therefore add back. People, the plus and minuses cannot be going wrong. It's very simple. Expense in the plus, income in the minus. Think carefully. Traveling expenses include expenditure which is incurred on foreign tour of 32,000, which was within RBI norms. Because salaries में कहाँ है? Not there in P&L, therefore ignore. People, this is कहाँ से पर्सनल है? कहाँ लिखा है पर्सनल है? तो सीएस नहीं जाते काम के लिए. सीएस डोंट गो फॉर फॉरेन टूर्स. सारा काम इंडिया में होता है. People, what to do? Ignore. It's a traveling expense. Nothing is given that it's personal in nature. Assume it is professional nature payment. And professional nature payment, RBI itself is saying you can pay. Who are you to come and object to this? Next, medical insurance premium on the health of dependent brother and major son dependent on her amounts to 5,000 and 10,000 rupees respectively, paid in cash. People, first look on the top and tell me, is there any medical insurance showing here? Is there any medical insurance showing here? Which means is this item part of P&L, not part of P&L? Ignoring it off. Going to 80D. I am allowed 80D amount allowed. Hey, 1 second. This is 80D amount allowed. Very good. 0. Amount allowed is 0 because payment happened in cash. I can only pay cash for preventive health checkup. I can only pay cash for preventive health checkup. 2,000 limit is for 80G. She invested an amount of rupees 10,000 in national shaving certificate. 80? Very good. This is 80C. When you see an investment you don't understand, it is ATC, not allowed under DTR. Not allowed under DTR. Next, the person has paid 70,000 rupees towards advance tax in 24-25. Again, ask yourself a question. Part of P&L? No. What to do with this? After you compute tax, this will be allowed as a credit. This will be allowed as a credit to find out what is my net tax payable. To find out what is my net tax payable. So remove from tax liability. Remove from tax liability. You also have TDS on the top, people. That will also get reduced from your tax liability to arrive at my net tax payables. To arrive my next tax payables. Hey, है क्या यहाँ पे? यहाँ पे विनिंग थोड़ी ना, पिछले वाले में था, पिछले वाले में था, इसमें नहीं है. Yes, you will arrive at your net tax payable by reducing this advance tax as a credit. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, obviously, always. Clear? Yes, people. Cash related questions you have to be very careful about. Cash related questions you have to be very careful about, because in cash related questions doing accrual concept is crime. Can't do accrual concept accounting. Point is very simple. Receive panna, income, kasu kudta, expense. That is what the idea is. Sorry, kahan pe? Nothing mentioned on it. Presumptive will not apply. Presumptive will not apply. I am looking at question number 5. Looking at question number 5, it says Mr. Y carries on his own business. An analysis of his trading and profit and loss account on the 31st March 25 gives the following information. People, things of these become a little complex. Because normally when you have a table, it's very easy to understand what to plus and what to minus. When English is given, it becomes very complicated. You need to pay attention to every line and notice carefully if it is income or expense. Yes, this is where things go complicated. So let's pay attention. But before we do that, I'm looking at the bottom. It says compute the total income of Mr. Y for the assessment year 25-26 under optional tax regime. This one only needs ATR, does not need. Let's read the question. The first item says net profit was 11,20,000. This is my starting point. Let's change color. This is my starting point. Yes, the following incomes were credited in P&L. So they're saying these items are there in the P&L. People, these are incomes, meaning if it should be there, let it be. If it is not there, minus. Keep the thought in mind. Dividends from UTI, minus from take 2. Interest on debentures, take 2. Winnings from horse races, minus from PGBP, add to IFOS, tax at the rate of, doesn't matter. Question wants total income. Overexcitement causes problems. Golden rule number 1. Golden rule number 1. Identify your question requirement. Question only once. Don't pay attention to other things. It was found that some stocks were omitted to be included in both opening stock and closing stock. People, this is not there. You need to check whether it should be there. I have an opening stock which I did not take. I should take. If I increase my opening stock, profit will decrease. Therefore, this will get minus. Closing stock is also missing. If I include closing stock, it will increase, and therefore add. Therefore add. Net of number is what you need to report. Yes or no? Yes, the logic is very simple, people. If something is omitted on credit side, profit will. If something is omitted on debit side, profit will. This is the same ulta. If something is overstated in debit side, profit will. If expenses are overstated, profit will come down, and if incomes are overstated, profit needs to increase. Keep that thought in mind. 1 lakh rupees was debited in P&L account, being contribution to university approved and notified under 35. Scientific research donations made. I am under ATR. Therefore, क्या करना? Ignore. It's already there in P&L. No other adjustments to make. Therefore, ignore. Salary includes 20,000 paid to brother, which is unreasonable to the extent of 2,500. People, questions like these, I am looking at related party. I'm looking at related party. Income tax says you should be a related party. You should get an expense. Expense should be unreasonable. All conditions satisfied. Therefore, I will disallow. Very good. 2,500. I will disallow 2,500. Section 48(2). Next. Advertisement expenses includes 15 gift packets of dry fruits costing 1,000 rupees per packet, which are presented to important customers. This is ignore. People, basically, I've gone to my customers and said Happy Diwali, given him some gift. This is for my business, therefore allowed. Therefore allowed. Yes, you would have done it in foundation called as advertisement expenses. Same thing. Total expenses on the car is 78,000. The car was used for both personal and business purpose, whereas 3/4 is only for business purpose. People, I have an expense of car of 78,000 fully debited to P&L, but in that only 3/4 is used for. Therefore 1/4 is to be. Number becomes. Clear? Yes, yes. People, assuming this was given in the previous question. Assuming this was given in the previous question, you will have a challenge, because in the previous question, people, you had purchase of car also, you had expense on car also, which means when you do compute depreciation also, you will allow only 3/4, and when you take the expense also, you will allow only 3/4. Yes, this is the second favorite question of ICI. This is the second favorite question of ICI, where what ICI will do is, they will give you a question. In that question, they'll come and say there is a car. There is a car. And they'll come and say the car has 3/4 use for business, 1/4 use for personal. People, when you see that kind of question, open your P&L and check every item. You may not just have depreciation on car, you may also have expense on car, in which case depreciation will also be 3/4, expense will also get 3/4. You have to pay attention to both. Yes or no? Yes, I'll have a subsequent question, that time we'll discuss. Next, miscellaneous expenses includes 30,000, which is paid to A&Co, a good transport operator, in cash on 31st January 25 for distribution of the company's product to the warehouse. People, trigger point is cash. Trigger point is cash. Payment made is 30,000. I can pay up to. Therefore, ignore information. Therefore, ignore information. Correct? Yes. Next, depreciation which is debited in books is 55,000. Drawing depreciation allowed as per income tax is 50,000. People, have debited 55. I will first disallow 55, and then I'll claim 50,000. Net effect, I can add 5,000. Net effect, I can add 5,000. Correct, 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 correct. Next one, people. Drawings debited in books is 10,000 rupees. People, is this drawings or drawings? This is drawings, which has to be part of capital account. You have put it in P&L. Your accounts are wrong. Remove it from P&L. Therefore, add back to PGBP. Add back to PGBP. Next one says investment in NSE and debited to books of accounts. People, this is investment. You have debited to P&L, which is wrong first, and claim ATC. Claim ATC. Clear? 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 Yes, yes, yes. All this looks fancy, nice, comfortable when I'm doing it. When I'm doing it, ghar jaake karo. Yes, yes. The only point here is, people, if you're able to trigger along with me as to what is this, then it is good. That's a good starting point. There will be some miss outs. I'm not doubting it. I'm not doubting it. Every time I do it, it'll be easy because mere ko practice hai. Yes, every time you do it, you will miss out one or two adjustments. That is what I've been telling you, people, that what you miss out, please mark those, because those are not triggering. Those are not triggering. So those things are what you have to pay attention to. The things which you already know, you already know. Nothing is going to go wrong there. Yes or no? Yes. That is how you practice, people. The more and more you enhance yourself, the more and more better it becomes. Yes. Yes. So don't keep staring at my face. I know I'm looking good. It's fine. Mr. Rajiv has been aged 50 years and a resident individual practicing chartered accountant, furnishing you the following. Furnishing you the following receipts and payments account. People, I have a problem now. I've been given a cash book. I've been given a cash book. I need to prepare P&L now. I need to prepare P&L account right now. Yes, now there are two ways to do this. One is that you go back to foundation. You start from receipts and payments and prepare income and expenditure, then come and do tax. then come and do tax. Or option number 2, you directly take receipts and payments and do tax. You directly do tax, which means now what will you do, people? You will not do indirect method of approach, you'll do direct method of approach. Cash flow statement. You'll do direct method of approach, which means what, people? If you think an expense is part of business, you will minus, and if you think it is an income of business, you will add. If it's not relating to business, you will take it directly to the other heads. Take it directly to other heads. We are doing direct approach. Doing direct approach. Clear? Yes, yes. Ignoring the table, people, I'm looking at the bottom. The bottom says you're required to compute total income of Rajiv, assuming he shifted out of default tax regime. Person is going for ATR. I'm looking on the top, people. I start from left side. I start from left side. People, it's always start from income side. It's always start from income side. Looking at the items, you'll tell me whether to take for business or not take for business. Not take for business. If it's not for business, you'll tell me which head to report. You'll tell me which head to report. First one says opening balance, cash in hand and bank, 12,000 rupees. Ignore. Fees from professional services, 59 lakh 38,000. I will take it in my PGBP. But here, people, also pay attention. 59 lakhs has crossed 50 but not crossed 75. I'll need to check later on. I'll need to check later on for presumptive taxation. Yes. Next, rent is 50,000. People, this is rent received, goes to people. Will I reduce from PGBP first? No, because I'm doing direct approach. I'm doing direct approach. Directly take it to HP. Directly take it to HP. Next, motor car loan from Canara Bank, 9% per annum, 2,50,000. I have received loan from bank for a car. I will ignore. It's a loan given. It's my liabilities. We'll come back to that. Abhi ke liye to nahi tha. If it is interest on loan, show in payment side. I am on receipt side. Receipt side, I've received I've received a loan. Nothing to do with PGBP. This is a liability ledger. Therefore, I will ignore it off. Move forward. Right side. Staff salary, bonus and stipend to articles. I will minus in PGBP. Very good. Other administrative expenses, 11,480. Minus in PGBP. Housing loan repaid to SBI includes 88,000 of interest. Office rent 30,000. Minus in PGBP. Housing loan repayment to SBI 1,88,000, in which 88,000 is interest. Very good. First, minus 1 lakh in ATC, minus 88,000 in IFHP. Minus 88,000 in IFHP. People, there are two components. Housing loan repayment is ATC. Interest on housing loan is IFHP. Interest on housing loan is IFHP. Yes. Life insurance premium payment made of 24,000 rupees, which is 10% of sum assured. Very good. ATC. So 24,000 again goes into ATC. Correct. Next, motor car acquired in Jan 25 by account pay check. I will claim. Very good. I'll claim depreciation at the rate of 7.5%. Yes. Next, medical insurance premium made for self and wife, account pay check 18,000. 80D. Books bought on 1st July 24, which is annual publications of 20,000 rupees. At the rate of, very good. Depreciation at the rate of 40%. Depreciation at the rate of 40%. Next, computers acquired on 1st November 24 by account pay check for professional use. At the rate of 4 ही नंबर है, वापस बोल दो. Normal was 40, half year therefore 20. Domestic drawings. Domestic drawings means वो ऐसे canvas पे you have drawn. People वो that Majnu वाला the horse, उसके ऊपर एक गधा. This is Ignore. Public Provident Fund subscription 20,000. 80. See, now I'm noticing people have already claimed 1 lakh here, 24,000 here, another 20,000, which is still allowed, no problem, because I have a restriction of, I don't have a problem here. Yes, motor car maintenance is 10,000 rupees. This is minus under PGBP, giving me closing balance of cash in bank 19 lakh 15. Ignore information. Ignore information. Things are going to go horribly wrong in additional information. Look at it carefully. It says he has occupied 50% of the building for own residence and let out the balance for residential use at a monthly rent of 5,000. The building was constructed during 5-6 when the housing loan was taken. Now people, the house which I have is part SOP. Let's check where and all it's getting impacted. Is it impacting on the left side? Is it impacting on the left side? Notice, no people, I have a rent of 5,000 per month. I have a rent of 5,000 per month. Into 12 should become 60,000, but I have received 50,000, which means 10,000 is people. This is cash book, meaning 10,000 is yet to be received. That's all. You cannot make assumption about everything else. Yes, 10,000 is yet to be received. Now come to IFHP. IFHP says rent is taxable on due or receipt, whichever is, which means when I go to HP, I can't tax 50, I have to tax full 60,000. When it comes to HP, I have to tax 60,000. I can't tax 50,000 because 50 is what is received, 10 is what is receivable, and therefore that is also taxable. If the question would have mentioned that there is a vacancy loss or an unrealized rent, I would have done it differently. Without any mention, it is assumed rent is receivable. This is on the left side. Now come to right side, people. Do I have an issue? Do I have an issue? Yes, I have an issue. The 88,000 of IFHP, the 88,000 of IFHP now gets split into two. Now gets split into two. 44K is for LOP and 44K is for SOP. Notice the question. The question says that the building was constructed during 5-6 when the loan was taken. So building loan was taken for construction, therefore no problems. Had this question said the building loan is taken for repairs, I would have restricted for SOP for 30,000. I would have let LOP be as it is. I would have let LOP be as it is because LOP is fully allowed even for repairs. SOP would get restricted to 30,000. This is for purchase and therefore no problems. Therefore no problems. What is plus 10,000? Why PGBP में होगा? क्या ना मैंने? HP क्या किया मैंने? How much am I taxing HP? I'm taxing HP for 60,000. So I'm taxing the whole HP for 60,000. Next, motor car was used for both official and personal purpose. 1/5 of the motor car is for personal purpose. No car loan interest was paid during the year. Yes. Now the question is coming and saying I have car for personal also. People look at all the items and tell me where and all issue will come. Left side. Left side issue will come, not come. Not come because the question itself says interest is not paid, so let it go. Come to the right side, where and all issue will come. I have an issue on depreciation because now this gets restricted to 1/5 है क्या? I will be allowed only 4/5. I will be allowed only 4/5. Next, I have a maintenance which will get allowed only 4/5. Which will get allowed only 4/5. Notice once again very carefully, people. Motor car maintenance, you are doing direct method. You're doing direct method, so which means you'll directly reduce only 4/5. You directly reduce only 4/5 because in P&L nothing was there. You are now only creating a P&L. Therefore, directly reduce only 4/5. Don't come and add 1/5. There is nothing to add. There is nothing to add. Yes or no? Yes. Problem happens when you do direct and indirect. Learn accounting. Written down value of the assets are given to you. Furniture and fitting, rate of depreciation 10%, plant and machinery 15%, computers 40%. Rajiv is following Cash system of accounting. Why is this given, people? Because the question it says that you have taken a loan for a car. You've taken a loan for a car and the question says you have not paid any interest. Not paid any interest. People, if you are following mercantile accounting, you would have booked the expense. You would have booked the expense. Luckily, because you're following cash system of accounting, no expense to be booked because nothing paid, nothing expensed. Nothing paid, nothing expensed. Assuming this question was mercantile. This question was mercantile. You will book an expense for only for 4 by 5. Only for 4 by 5 because part is for personal. Wrong. Completely wrong. If the question would have said that you are following accrual system of accounting, you would have booked an expense for no. accrual का मतलब क्या होता है? बैंक से थोड़ी ना लिया है. अच्छा बैंक से लिया. Yes, because it is taken from a bank, you will not allow that as an expense because of 43B. Because of 43B. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. 43B comes and says any interest taken from a bank will not be allowed as deduction unless it is paid. So therefore, no facts changing. No facts changing. But the one other critical thing which you're missing out, people, is that car was acquired in Jan 25, which means if you have paid interest from April, the period of April to December is borrowing cost. The period of April to December is borrowing cost will get capitalized. Will get capitalized. So which means whatever interest you have, you will capitalize up to January. You will capitalize up to January, and Feb and March, assuming you would have paid, you would have claimed 4 by 5. You would have claimed 4 by 5. Yes. Yes, things can go horribly wrong when it comes to these kind of adjustments, people. Don't worry. If you do not understand, you have it as a part of your mock exams. I'll show it to you in mocks. Question number 7 before we go for lunch, breakfast. Before we go for breakfast. I've been taking classes for 2 to 8, so getting used to it. Yes, question says, Ramdeen is age 33 years, working as a manager, sales in Frozen Food Limited, and provides you the following information. This is your mock paper question. This is your mock paper question. You are required to look at the total income and the tax payable for 25-26, assuming Ramdeen has exercised the option of shifting out of default tax regime. I'm going in alternates. People, this is not a PGBP question. It's a total income question. So let's look at each item. You tell me what to do. You tell me what to do. First item says basic salary 15,000 per month. Take it to amount taxable. Next says DA 50% is forming part 12,000. Take it to salaries. People, 50% is forming part taxable amount. Full 1,44,000. DA both are taxable. Commission as a percentage of turnover is 0.5%. People, for this I need to know what is mine. So let's check my turnover. Turnover is 50 lakhs. Therefore, taxable amount is 0.5 है. 25,000. 25,000. Next, bonus is 50,000. Taxable under salaries. Gratuity is 30,000. Fully taxable received during employment. Own contribution to RPF 80C. People, mock 1 में तुम्हें 80C नहीं था. This is 80C. Question wants total income. Question wants total income. Employer's contribution to RPF is 20% of basic salary. 12% is what is allowed. 12% is what is allowed. People, 20% of basic is what is contributed. So 20% of basic is 36,000. So I have contributed 36,000. I can contribute 12% of basic plus DA forming part. So it is 1,80,000 plus 72. 2,52,000 का 12% is 30,000 to. Therefore, taxable amount is understand this carefully, people. Question says I have contributed 20% of basic salary. My basic salary is 1,80,000. I have contributed 36,000, 20%, which is 36,000. But section says, I don't care what your basic salary is. I will give you exemption for 12% of salary, where salary means basic plus DA forming part. DA forming part is 50%. Basic is 1,80,000. DA forming part will become 72. Total becomes 252. 12% of that becomes 30,240. I have paid 36,000. I can claim exemption of 30,240, making my taxable component as 5,760. चेक करो, मेरे को नहीं पता. Oh yeah, you have turnover commission also, people. Sorry. It's basic plus DA forming part plus turnover commission, people. So it is 1,80,000 plus 72 plus 25. 30? 33. You have 33,240, giving you a taxable amount of. वही मैं सोच नंबर मैच नहीं हो रहा था. 2760. Yes, I was thinking ये number match नहीं हो रहा, क्यों नहीं match हो रहा? Yes, interest credited in RPF account is at the rate of 15%, 15,000 rupees. People, interest permission for 9.5. You have received 15% interest. You should have received 9.5% interest. If 15% interest gets you 15,000, how much will 9.5% interest get? 9,500. So I am exempted for 9,500. I am taxable for 5,500. I am taxable for 5,500. Correct? Gold ring worth 10,000 rupees was given by employer on his 25th wedding anniversary. Taxable under the head. Salaries, amount taxable. Full 10,000 rupees. Next, music system is purchased on 1st April 24 by a company for 85,000 and was given to him for personal use. People, always in a perk related question, you need to first ask, is the asset sold to me or is the asset given for use? This is a given for use. In given for use, people, we discuss computers fully exempt, motor cars fully official, fully personal. But when it comes to other assets, ask yourself if it is owned or hired. Owned means 10% of the cost and hired means higher charges. This one is owned and therefore 8,500 will get taxable under the head salaries. Correct. Next, 2 light good vehicles owned by him was leased to a transport company against fixed charges of 6,500 per month. Books of accounts are not maintained. You will be doing presumptive taxation. Very good. You will be doing presumptive taxation. People, I am a transport operator owning less than 10 vehicles. For every vehicle, I'll be charged 7,500 per month. मैं गाड़ी क्यों रख रखा हूं? घर पे ट्रक किसके लिए रखता है तू? गूड्स व्हीकल मतलब क्या होता है? तो क्या हुआ? Can I not have a business other than that? Why will you have goods vehicle at home? $7,500 into 12 will be your taxable component. People, ideally speaking, if you had maintained books, you would only have to tax 6,500. Question says you have not maintained books, you can only do presumptive. You can't do anything else. Yes, had it been my personal car, I would have been cautious, people, but this is a goods vehicle. I'm not going to keep goods vehicle for personal reasons. It is obviously for a business. I have received interest of 5,860 on FDRs and interest of 6,786 on debentures on Indian company on 5th May 24. People, I want you to pay attention to one simple thing. It uses the word received. Received means what I have in my hand. And what I have in my hand is always after TDS. क्योंकि इंडिया में सब कुछ कट के ही आता है. Which is why you see the word called net here. Now questions like these, people, interest, we have done a basic understanding, and I told you whenever interest comes, the reduce rate is 10 percentage. TDS rate is 10 percentage. People, in your questions of total income, if you don't know what the TDS rate is, winnings will be 30. Everything other than winnings is, that is what the idea is. Which means people, the number of 6786 is 90%. I want 100%. Number becomes 7540. Number becomes 74540. Yes. Now comes to the left side, people. I have something called FDRs. This is called foreign direct receipts. This is called as foreign direct receipts. Basically foreign receipts. People. Here also TDS will apply. But in this question, ICAI has not given a TDS on this. Because the number is very small. So they're making an assumption. Is pe TDS nahi aayega. Also because of the fact that number looks rounded off as compared to the other one. Yes, and therefore ICAI has made an assumption TDS will not apply. But let me also clarify, in exams you are free to do both. Because if you do 90% people, that will also be a good round number. Check. It comes in some decimals. That itself is a hint for you that this is without TDS, which means here I will add 5860. But I'm clarifying this to you. Had you done 90% also, your answer will be right. Because it is not clear whether TDS will come or not come. The idea from an exam perspective is very simple. When you see the word received, it means what you have in your hand. That is not your income. If the word is used received salary, you will do standard deduction. If the word says received rent, you will do standard deduction. If the word says received other incomes, you will do TDS. All that is how it works. Received itself means this is receipt, not your income. You need to compute incomes. Keep that in mind. Made payments of 15,370 towards premium on life insurance policies 80. C. 22,500 for mediclaim policies 80. D. Invested in NSC 30,000 80. C. Invested in FDRs for SBI for 5 years 80. C. Same FDRs. Investment I've made. All investments are under 80. C. Donations of 11,000 rupees to an institution approved under 80G. People, category number A. Category number D. Charitable trust is D. And 5,100 to Prime Minister National Relief Fund, category A. People, now there is a problem because A has no limits, but D has 10% of adjusted total income. Which means you will compute your whole gross total income, reduce all deductions except for 80G. Find out what is my 10%. In this question you are safe. In this question 10% will be higher, and therefore even if you had missed it out and done 50%, you'll get full marks. In this question you are safe. Doesn't happen all the time. So pay attention to this. Compute the total income tax payable. This is what the question says. Yes or no? Yes, chances of these kind of questions is very remote. ICAI loves to test you more on tables. They give you table related question, but this is a question for your question number 3. For those who know the format, people, question number 1 is your total income question. Question number 2 is relating to residential status and TDS. Question number 3 will be heads of income, and ICAI can ask anything. Either they can ask a pure salary question, a pure HP question, pure PGBP question, or they can ask combinations. So this is a combination question. 3B will be capital gains. Exclusive capital gains question in 3B. 4A becomes clubbing and set off, and 4B is your theory question. Yes or no? Normally, char. Yes, normally as a part of practice, people, what I always tell is a person would always like to do question number 2 and 4. Because 2 may residential status comes, which you can answer, and 4 may clubbing with theory comes, which you can answer. Yes, 3 is what I generally avoid because 3A will be very lengthy. And 99% capital gains people don't understand, and therefore 3B gets ignored. So 3 is what you avoid, people, which means 2A you answer, 2B also you will make a guess, because TDS also you may not read so much. Yes, so which means that is how you answer it, people. So 3 is what you completely ignore, 2b is what you ignore, 2a is what you're answering, 4 fully you're answering, 4 fully you're answering, letting go 4 marks, letting go 4 marks. Unless you come to a point where you suddenly see 2a you don't know, resident status is not making sense at all, it's not making sense at all, then you don't have an option, people. You'll have to jump to 3a, you'll have to jump to 3a and do 3b also, yes, where you may not get full marks but you'll still know the format. So put step marks, put step marks, that is how you answer it, that is how you answer it. Otherwise question number 3 is always the last priority question after total income. Obviously total income is the last question you're going to do, but 3 is the last priority in terms of what to leave, in terms of what to leave, because that is what will take most of the time for you. Capital gains also will take a hefty amount of time, your 3a will also take hefty amount of time. Yes, small insights for you. As you do your mocks you'll understand this better. Clear? Yes, yes, I think we're done with this, people. Question number 8 is what I'm not doing for you. This was your mock question, this was a mock question. There is only one thing to be kept in mind, the person is leaving on 31st December, the person is leaving on 31st December, which means he retires in 9 months, which means salary is only for 9 months. That is all you need to know, that is all you need to know. Yes, other than that this question is not relevant, other than that this question is not relevant, and that's what your questions will look like, that's what your questions will look like. Yes, 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 whatever is the remaining question, people. Question number 9 and the balance of comprehensives, the balance of comprehensives we'll come back and we'll do after breakfast. So let's take a break.